That has happened on that end. And then we can go all the way back to the transatlantic slave trade because they were involved in that. They sold us on the auction block. They were owning our ancestors. So they have to apologize for what they did to our people and a part of the Holocaust of black people. But black people were never a part of the Holocaust of Jewish people.
Oh, wait. So actually, like...
Don't edit that out.
Yeah, no.
Okay,
No.
Armageddon has already started. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said the battle will be in the sky. It just don't mean airplanes. See, the battle has already begun. The battle is for the mind. Satan battling for your mind. God battling for your mind.
Or like we could like debank a bunch of these like white supremacists who go against black folks. You don't do that. You feel me? Right? So one, speak about the rise to the power, and then two, do we blame the Jewish people for going against or waging war against anyone who try to, I guess, like challenge them intellectually or go at them?
Very good question. So I'll say this first thing is the rise to power has happened in multiple countries, and particularly with their community. It's happened in multiple countries time and time again, mostly European countries.
Yeah.
Long before they got to Africa, they were over there and they were involved in different trades and different things of that nature. So they've been doing what they've been doing. And we're actually very, I would say, we admire their success in the hard work when it comes to them working as hard as they do. We admire the success of anybody. We're taught to study the white man, for he makes no excuses for his failure. He works together in a collective manner with one another, with his own people. Yeah, that's what we originally did as a people until we were destroyed. So now we're getting back to that, working together with our people, trusting our people, building with our people, selling and entering into international trade and commerce with our people, like doing business. That's how it's supposed to be. That's how we always were until we fell. Mentally, spiritually, emotionally, from our empires, from our groups and our nations. So now we're getting back to that beautifully, right? Because we are doing this, it's happening, and I'm thankful to see our people doing that. However, if your rise to power comes at the degradation of somebody else, if your rise to power comes at the destruction of somebody else, intentionally, I'm not talking about unintentionally, etc. I'm talking about you intentionally are destroying this group to make your group stronger. You're making them sick to make yourself healthy. You're making them poor to make yourself rich. You're making them small to make yourself big. That is wrong. It doesn't matter who it is, black folks, Jewish, white, Italian, it don't matter. That's wrong. So it just so happens that that is a part of, and it happens in multiple nations. Africa, so certain nations have done that to our own people, have done that. Of course, all throughout Europe, and of course, Europeans and white folks, for the majority to humanity, when it comes to per capita numbers, have done this. So that's the first point. The second point is when it comes to looking at that power and them defending themselves.
Yeah, hey man.
No, like let's really
up, man. Come on.
Let's be real about this.
Yeah.
Jewish people better defend themselves,
Yeah.
but black people should too. Asians should too. Everybody, you should have a defense group.
Wait. That's important. They ain't catch it. Say it again. They ain't catch it, Rizza. They ain't catch it. Jewish people should defend themselves, but
Absolutely.
Sorry.
Jewish people should defend themselves, but black folks should too. Asians should too. Indians should too. Everyone has the right to defend themselves. Everyone, not just Jewish people.
Yeah.
That's the critical part.
Yeah.
Because if you can call me anti-Semitic, but you call me anti-Semitic because I'm defending myself against your blatant anti-black racism, then what the hell is it really? We just had a standoff? Or am I responding to a legitimate negative circumstance that you are putting me through? That's the fact. There are no groups that I know of, bro, of whole black people trying to come up with ways to attack Jewish people. It don't exist. It's like when they call the Nation of Islam a hate group against Jewish people. Do you know that there has never been one incident of a member of the Nation of Islam physically harming any Jewish person anywhere ever?
Wow.
We've been listed as a hate group for over 60 years. How? But there are many Jewish people who have harmed people, not only the Nation of Islam, but black people, period, in the way that they take advantage of them when it comes to their housing, when it comes to their business and their contracts, when it comes to how they disproportionately remove them from job positions, et cetera, how they literally destroy their ability to have a livelihood, to take care of their family, to take food out of their mouth, et cetera. That has happened on that end. And then we can go all the way back to the transatlantic slave trade because they were involved in that. They sold us on the auction block. They were owning our ancestors. So they have to apologize for what they did to our people and a part of the Holocaust of black people. But black people were never a part of the Holocaust of Jewish people.
Oh, wait. So actually, like...
Don't edit that out.
Yeah, no.
Okay,
no, hell no. Listen, this is all staying in. But like, speak on that, though, because I have heard something about how they were involved in a transatlantic slavery, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I guess I just never did my research on it, right? So what was their role? Because like somebody say, nah, like it was like non-Jewish, right? Since it was like just like the British or right, but you know, but like speak on that. So like yeah.
Let's make this clear. So a lot of you have to look at one thing in America. First off, over 90% of Jews in America identify as white.
Yeah.
On the census. So we're gonna leave it at that. Because some Jews, well, I'm Jewish, I'm not white.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you identify as white for the most part on the census, right? So I'll just say that for that point. When it comes to their role, were Africans involved in our enslavement? To a degree, sure, to a degree. Not the same way Europeans. Let's get that very clear, but to a degree, yes. European nations, for sure. Arabs, definitely. It happened. But when it comes to a primary role as it pertains to those who own some of the ships, those who sponsored and owned the shackles, those who helped when it came to the actual transporting, the scheduling, like all that kind of stuff, it primarily was Jewish people, especially when you're talking about one Cristobal Colon, also known as Cristoforo Colombo, who we know as Christopher Columbus. He was sponsored by, who was that? King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella, 1492. Roughly in that same time, in the same year, 1492, over 300,000 Jewish people were kicked out of Spain at that time. But they helped to sponsor this excursion, this situation where Christopher Columbus went and tried to find the New World. He was funded by Jewish people. Now, people, they try to, move that around and say, no. The history is the actual fact. So let's not play around. If it happened, it happened. See, if we were a part of something like that, we'd have to apologize. We're not going to try to erase that part of history to make ourselves look like we're innocent. No, the reality is Jewish people were known to own slaves in Italy. They were known to own slaves in France. They were known to own slaves in Spain. They were known to own slaves in Maine. They were known to own slaves in Slovakia. They were known to own slaves in all these different areas, and they were kicked out of all these different countries all throughout Europe. White folks kicking out white folks because of them doing certain things like owning slaves when that part of that history was supposed to be ended. And they were told, you can't own no more slaves right now. We ended that, knock it off. And they were like, no, that's one of the ways we're making a lot of money here. And so that's one reason why they were kicked out of certain places like Spain, like Italy, like France, like Maine, etc. All the way from 1092, I believe. Let's just leave it at that point. But all the dates go down in a chronological order. So they've been kicked out of multiple European nations, brother, over 20 of them before we had our enslavement circumstance, long before. So I want to make that very clear. And if you want to get a reference on that, there is a 3-part book called The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews, which is a compilation of historians, Jewish writers, Jewish rabbis. And all the references and footnotes are at the bottom so that you can go look at their books from the Encyclopedia Judaica, the Jewish encyclopedia, all of this, where they admit their historians are saying, yes, the Jew was a primary slaveholder of African people all over the place. So it's their words. I recommend everybody go get that. All 3 parts, including number 3, which is a very critical one, talking about Leo Frank, who was a Jewish man who was lynched for raping a white girl. And then they lynched him, white folks lynched him, another white man named Leo Frank, and they said that was the primary anti-Semitic act that sparked the creation of the ADL. So it was a white man who is an actual convicted known rapist. He tried to blame it on a black man. Back then in 1915 when they hung him, right? Court case 1913, they hung him in 1915. They tried to blame it on a black man and say, no, he did it. But all of the evidence pointed to the fact that, no, you did it. You raped the girl. She was, I believe, 13 or 14 years old. She worked at your pencil factory, and you tried to say it was that man. Why? Because at that time, all you needed was the word of a white man over the word of a black man in order for a black man to be blamed. So he thought that was going to work in his favor. They arrested him, found him to be guilty. The white folks went to the jail, broke him out of the jail. Brought him to the city where the girl was raised, and then they hung him in that city. Just so we can make this very clear. Black folks had nothing to do with this. All right, this is white folks against other white folks. And the Jewish people, when it comes to the other white groups, Italians, French, German, all that, they had their issues. But the point is, that's what happened, and that's what sparked the ADL. So the ADL was created to try to make a rapist look like an innocent martyr. Do you get what I'm saying? And then from that point, the ADL has become one of the #1 organizations to target black leaders. And I'm talking about from the Panthers to the Nation of Islam, Marcus Garvey, all of these things. Kyrie, come on. Come on, brother. And I mean, they have targeted our people, and damn near every black leader is quote unquote anti-Semitic, when again, none of us have been targeting Jewish people. That's not what we do. We just want people to leave us alone. Just like Jewish people have the right to live. We have the right to live as well. Just let us do that.